The Vatican. For centuries, it's been a fortress of secrets, right? But what if the biggest one isn't locked away in some dusty archive, but is actually out there, among the stars? We're about to dive into a story that's pretty wild. It connects top-tier theologians, ancient astronaut theories, and a prediction about the future of faith that is, well, you'll see.
And it really kicks off with statements just like this one. So, picture it. 2008, the director of the Vatican's own observatory, a guy named Father José Funes, he just drops this absolute bombshell in the official Vatican newspaper. It's a single line that feels like it's cracking open the door to a totally new way of thinking for, one of the oldest institutions on the planet.
And that right there is the central mystery we're going to dig into. Is this all just some high-level theoretical chat, a theological exercise? Or is it something more? A deliberate, carefully planned effort to get all of us ready for a revelation that could literally change everything we think we know about, well, everything.
All right, to really get this, we've got to rewind a bit. We're going back to a pretty fascinating and honestly super unlikely meeting that basically set the stage for this whole conversation. Okay, so the year is 2000. We're at a conference in Italy, and the two main players here are, on one side, Monsignor Corrado Balducci, a top Vatican theologian, and on the other, Zecharia Sitchin. Now, if you know that name, you know he's famous for his super controversial theories about ancient astronauts, all based on Sumerian texts. I mean, you've got two completely different worlds colliding over one massive cosmic question. So let's talk about Monsignor Balducci for a second. Who was this guy? This is super important. He wasn't some rogue priest with wild ideas. No way. He was a member of the Vatican Curia, their central government. He was a leading exorcist for Rome, an expert on demonology, and get this, some sources say he was the Vatican's official point man on UFOs. So when this guy talked, he wasn't shouting from the fringes. He was speaking from deep, deep inside the institution. And this is where their conversation gets really interesting. You have Balducci, the theologian, coming at it from a purely Catholic perspective. Then you have Sitchin laying out his translations of ancient Sumerian tablets. Two totally different toolkits, and yet they land in a remarkably similar place. They both conclude that, yeah, advanced ETs could totally exist, and that humanity might have been, well, fashioned from a pre-existing being. And Balducci even said that Christianity was coming around to that very idea. So you might be wondering, how does the Vatican even make this work, theologically speaking? Well, Balducci laid it out pretty cleverly. He said, look, angels are pure spirit. Humans are a mix of spirit and matter. So doesn't it just make sense, he argued, that there could be other beings somewhere in that huge gap? Beings that are physical like us, but maybe more spiritually advanced. And just like that, you've got a brand new theological box to put ETs in. They're not angels, they're not demons, they're something else. Okay, so the Vatican is cracking the door open to this whole idea. The next obvious question is why? What's the real motivation here? Why now?
I mean, this feels like a massive shift for an institution built on tradition, right? But one theory says it's not a shift at all. It's actually a very calculated strategy, one that's been in play for decades. And that strategy has a name. It's called an acclimation program. The whole concept really comes from this old 1961 report done for NASA, the Brookings Report. It basically warned that if we suddenly discovered alien life, society could just collapse. Especially, it said, societies built on fundamentalist religious beliefs. So what's the solution? You don't just drop the news. You do it slowly. A gradual release of information to, soften the blow. And if you follow this theory, that's exactly what the Vatican is doing. By getting out in front of any potential discovery, by declaring that, hey, alien life is totally compatible with God's creation, they're making a preemptive strike. It's actually kind of a genius move for institutional survival. It ensures that when, or if, contact happens, the church doesn't look obsolete. It looks like it knew all along.
And believe me, they are working out the nitty-gritty details. Remember Father Funes, the astronomer who called the alien his brother? Well, he also theorized that maybe an alien species might be sinless. Like maybe they never had a fall like humanity did, so they wouldn't even need salvation through Christ. This is some deep, deep theological thinking here, and it really feels like they're prepping for a very real possibility.
But hold on. What if this isn't about getting ready for something in the future? What if it's really about managing a reality that's been hidden from us this whole time? Because some of these theories, they go way deeper. They suggest that all this public talk from the Vatican is just a smokescreen, a distraction from a reality that's not only way more complex, but is already here.
Okay, This is where the story takes a really sharp turn. We're about to go down the rabbit hole. The question isn't, are they coming anymore? The question is, have they been running the show all along?
So check this out. This is one really startling theory from a neurologist, Dr. Edward Spencer. It points to a completely separate human-like species called Homo capensis. You'd know them by their large, elongated skulls, the coneheads, and the theory is that this group has a much higher IQ and has been secretly managing human civilization from the shadows.
And the supposed timeline for this species? It goes way, way back. We're talking ancient bone fragments in South Africa, the very distinct look of the Egyptian pharaoh Akhenaten and his family, all the way up to today, where they supposedly operate as a high cabal of elite bankers and shadowy figures pulling the strings.
And why are they doing it? Well, according to this theory, their motive is chillingly simple. They don't see us, Homo sapiens, as equals. They see us as their small-brain herd, something to be managed, controlled, and, this is the scary part, some believe even depopulated. I mean, talk about an unsettling power dynamic.
But the coneheads, Homo capensis, they're just one theory about who's secretly pulling the strings. You've got other ideas floating around, manipulative ETs, Draco-reptilians, or even the more, let's say, traditional suspects, like the Jesuits or the Illuminati. It's a whole tangled web of who might secretly be in control.
There's another really powerful theory, and this one pulls from ancient Gnostic texts. It suggests that religion itself is a form of alien technology, a tool, created by beings the Gnostics called demons to install a false god. The goal? To turn us away from true spiritual insight and, by dividing us, make us way easier to control.
So, where is all of this going? Seriously, take a deep breath for this one, because all of these different threads, the Vatican's careful planning, these chilling theories about secret controllers, even the idea that religion is an alien invention, they all start to twist together and point to one final, absolutely mind-blowing prediction.
It comes from a book called Exo Vaticana. And just for context, this was written by the same people who actually predicted Pope Benedict's resignation ahead of time. And in this book, they claim they figured out the Vatican's ultimate secret endgame.
And here's the prediction. The Vatican knows about an extraterrestrial presence that is on its way. They're supposedly tracking it with a telescope project codenamed, and you can't make this up, Lucifer. And the plan isn't to fight whatever's coming. The plan is to reveal this being to the world, not as a threat, but as a messiah. A savior for all of us, who will bring everyone together under one new, universal religion, with Rome, of course, right at the center.
And this is where everything snaps right back to those official statements we started with. You have a top Vatican astronomer wondering out loud if Jesus could be thought of as a child of other races. So is that just a theologian thinking big thoughts? Or is it, like some people claim, the actual philosophical groundwork being laid for the arrival of an alien savior?
So, we're left with this huge question, right? Are we watching a carefully managed plan to get us used to the idea of the biggest event in human history? A preemptive strike by this ancient institution to steer us into a new cosmic era? Or is this whole thing just a collection of modern myths, a story we're weaving from our biggest fears and our deepest hopes about who's really in charge? I mean, what do you think?